Everybody, Zach from Buckeye Shooting Center, joined with Pops, aka also my dad, and what else do they call you here?
I'm the compliance officer, which is that's the biggest issue that we're going to be talking about today. I do all the compliance with the ATF as well as the EPA and OSHA.
All the alphabet soup agencies that love to do everything but to screw you?
Yeah, my job is a good one and fun.
That's why you're always so happy with your sunny disposition.
I have a coffee cup that says grumpy on it.
Yeah.
So I want to break down range safety by the numbers. And I'm entitling this because the numbers are very important. OSHA has what they call the PEL level, which is permissible exposure limit. If you are 50 parts per million per cubic meter, you cannot do business, period. There is a level called an actionable level, which is 30 parts per million per cubic meter. So if you're between that 30 and that 50 limit, you can do business. However, you have to put administrative things in place, for example, full PPE, eliminating certain threats, that type of thing.
Threats as in exposure threats, not threats as in bad guy threats, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So we had our range tested when we first opened up, and we went worst case scenario. We put sensors right where the muzzle flash is going to take place, where it was taking place. Mm-hmm. And our levels here at Buckeye Shooting Center are less than 10 parts per million per cubic meter, which is more than 3 times better than what the acceptable or the actionable limit is.
Would you call that the minimum standard?
The minimum standard is 30, but anything under that, you do not have to put any implementation in place. In other words, no PPE or anything like that. And the fact that we're 3 times better.
That's what I'm getting at. So essentially, Buckeye Shooting Center, our range, is 3 times better than the minimum standard required to do business as a shooting range.
Yeah, correct. It's like the mil-spec term being tossed out on ARs. Yeah. Hey, this is mil-spec. Well, mil-spec is a minimum allowable specification.
By the cheapest bidder.
Yeah. So it's a good thing and a bad thing. At least we know what we're getting, but it could be a lot better. So the lead levels here are amazing. The next set of numbers I want to talk about is 75. Our air going through our range essentially is a laminar flow system, and it takes out bad air, filters it, and puts fresh air back into the range. And ours is better than 75 feet per minute. We did a smoke test and measured it when we first opened up as well. And what that means is, since our range is a 75-foot range, we are getting fresh air once every minute into that range.
And it's continuously flowing too.
Correct.
So whatever is at the firing line a minute later is going to be down getting sucked up by the HVAC unit.
Correct. Also, with that, you're getting it's going through 3. That's the next set of numbers I want to talk about. 3 stages of filtration. So we have a regular filter system that's like on your HVAC in your house.
Yeah, they're
it's
glorified air filters.
Yeah, glorified air. Then we have a bag filter system, which it's huge. I mean, there's 16 of these things, and each of them have like 10 or 12 bellows on them.
A lot.
Yeah, and then it goes through a HEPA filter system. When we designed our range, we wanted overkill because, first of all, we wanted everybody to be safe. Second of all, we wanted to future-proof it. We didn't want some liberal in office somewhere, either state level or federal level, sit there and go, hey, we're coming up with new EPA regulations, and this is what the limits are. So instead of being a 30, let's say they changed it to 20. Well, we're still good.
And expansion.
So I do want to talk a little bit about our backstop too. Here at Buckeye Shooting Center, we have a rubber backstop. And there's two types of ranges, indoor ranges. There's a steel trap, which is basically just a steel AR-500 plate at the end at an angle. And then there's the rubber berm.
With AR-550 steel underneath it, it just has layers of rubber.
But there's pros and cons to each. And the pros to the steel trap is going to be it's virtually zero maintenance.
Recovering the
lead. Yeah, I mean it goes through a hopper and just gets collected in a drum, and then it goes to the recycler. With ours, we have to mine it. We shut down for a day and we mine it. Get in the full PPE. They come out. They pull all the lead out and put everything back.
Fortunately, we don't mine it.
Yeah,
the company who built the range mines it for us.
Yeah, but it's a process. But the benefit to the rubber is it is less lead dust in the air. Imagine a jacketed bullet hitting a steel plate. As soon as that impacts, there's lead particles that go into the air. We don't have that. Our lead particles get trapped by the rubber berm. So when we designed our range again, we designed it around, and we chose the rubber because we wanted to be safe. We wanted our customers to be safe, and we wanted our employees to be safe. And it just cut down. Not to say that steel traps aren't safe. They certainly are safe. It's just a little bit there. The scrubbers have to be a little bit better. The filtration has to be a little bit better.
It's harder to future-proof.
Yeah, it really does.
I think one key thing to point out too is our HVAC system literally runs the width of the building, and it is big enough to power a hospital. And all we're powering off of it is two 24 by 70 foot bays, or 48 by 75 feet.
Because the pro shop and all the offices and the event center, they're all on a separate HVAC system. So the range is only powered by one HVAC system,
which can power a small hospital.
Yeah. So a couple other numbers I want to go over is 12 so far in the calendar year. Our RSOs, range safety officers, have dismissed 12 people off the range. And we have full-time in-bay range safety officers for everybody's safety. And I just wanted to put that out there that we don't mess around. If you're doing something stupid,
if you're a danger to yourself or others,
let's
be very clear.
You're going to be removed. Period.
Yeah. Everybody's entitled to warnings and stuff like that, but when you put
the severity of what's
when you
going
put somebody or yourself in imminent danger, you're asked to leave. And it says that on the waiver when you sign the waiver before you go on the range. Everything is up to and including being removed from the range and asked to leave, because we don't tolerate being put in an unsafe environment. We expect the same for our customers too.
Next thing I want to talk about, and we do get this question a lot about ear protection, and there's a lot of people that don't know that ear protection is rated, and they all have an NRR rating, which stands for noise reduction rating. So there's some math involved, but basically what OSHA states is for a 6-hour period of time or exposure rate, that your NRR rating for your ear pro has to be at least 23 or better. So the higher the number, the better. A lot of people choose to put foamies in and then the ear pro, and that's fine. But the foamies, according to OSHA, they only add about 5 NRR to the rating of your ear pro. So here at the center, we choose an exposure level of 6 hours because that's the longest that any of our range safety officers are going to be in the bay.
One fun thing to point out here too is, especially if you're a veteran, I'm sure you've seen, and I know a lot of non-vets have seen this too, especially on Facebook, but the 3M lawsuit that's going out there for veterans, and how I don't know if it's a class action lawsuit or whatever. I'm not an attorney, but a lot of that is based on the exposure time of people wearing that ear pro. I mean, we've all done it, but exposure time, and the exposure time being greater than what the noise or better than what the reduction can handle. And that's where that entire lawsuit comes from, is the exposure time that they were exposed to loud noises, or vets were exposed to loud noises that were over the decibel threshold.
Artillery.
Everything, jet engines, I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Jet engines.
But, then the exposure time to that, I was Air Force, so I saw a lot of it with guys on the ramp even though they're supposed to have double ear pro on, and they do most of the time, but it only adds 4 or 5 NRR to your other ear pro. And there's still, again, there's math involved, and the equation's publicly available everywhere to figure out what that is.
We should put that on this video. I mean, I have it here.
Yeah, it'll be right here at the bottom of the screen. I'll put it right there. But that's where that lawsuit comes from, is from duration during loud periods where the noise reduction fails.
So, and just doing some checking with some of our vendors, even the cheapest of cheap ear pro is 22 to 23.
Like the Champion stuff?
Yeah, the cheap Radians. And so it's good. It's not great, but it's good.
You're not going to wear that shit for 4 hours anyway, because it'll give you a headache from hell, because
it's funny.
It's not comfortable.
We were at the Jackets game, and your mom's first Jackets game. The cannon went off. We actually scored a goal, and
that's rare this season.
And it's loud. And she goes, "Man, well, yeah, I'm sure it can hurt someone's hearing, but the whole thing is over an exposure over a period of time." And that's what we're worried about with our customers and our staff. So our customers, we would like you to wear some decent ear pro. I mean, but again, even the cheapest of cheap is still at least 23, and that's what I would recommend, 23 and up.
I know the active walkers that we sell are really popular.
23.
Yeah, and they work great, but I've worn those in the range for a long period of time before, and after 3 or 4 hours of exposure, you start to feel it. And it's one of those things where a couple more hours and it'd start hurting a little bit. Going in there for an hour or two, they work great.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what I wear. Pelletors is the next step up. Pelletors they start off at a 25.
Yeah,
but they're also more expensive too.
It's
they're
just
a little
like
more comfortable
everything.
Too.
It's you get what you pay for with your pro.
Then you could be like Andrew and Keith and wear Comtac 6s that cost $1,400 and go in there and wear them all day, and your exposure rating is insane.
Yeah.
You could literally live in the range. So
yeah. So we talked about the lead exposure. We talked about the eyes or ears. Now we're going to talk about the eyes, and with that, the number is going to be 87. So there's an ANSI rating of 87, and it's a rating on the hardness or the ability of your eye pro to
break,
to not break. And that is an ANSI standard, and it is Z87.1-2010.
It'll be down here at the bottom if you nerds want to look it up.
And that standard is the standard for
everything
really. I mean,
every industry,
military,
construction,
safety, any kind of safety glasses,
dentist.
Yeah. So, and again, the cheapest of cheap eye pro that you can buy, just the clear plastic stuff, it's going to be ANSI rated. Should not be an issue, but that is the standard.
And you should be able to tell if it's ANSI rated, and ANSI is ANSI. It's small, but it should be on the lens at one of the top corners or on the
packaging
frames.
somewhere. Yeah. It's going to be, but you need to make sure it's ANSI rated, because if it's like regular eyewear glasses, that's not ANSI rated. And if you get something and you get glass in your eye, something shatters, now we got a problem.
Well, and prescription glasses are a little different too, because a lot of them are ANSI rated prescriptions.
Yeah.
Not all are. So make sure if you wear glasses and that's what you're wearing into the range, if you're concerned, you need to check with your optometrist to make sure that your prescription and the frames and
safety
the glasses that you got are ANSI rated.
Yeah,
so.
Safety glasses. 0. 0 is the number of firearms that is allowed between the wall and the red line at Buckeye Shooting Center. And we do this for everybody's safety. I mean, we can be as safe as we want. We will be as safe as we are. But, with everything in place, there can be an issue. We want to litigate that as much as possible.
Mitigate.
So, litigate.
You're an attorney.
Yes, that's correct. So we mitigated. With that said, all the firearms past the red line, on the firing line, I'm sorry, yellow line. Yeah, you got to be past the yellow line.
Yeah, you don't want to go in front of the red line.
No,
That's how you get shot.
Yeah, yeah. So you got to be on the other side of the yellow line, and that's you take your range bag or whatever you've brought your firearm in. You take it to your stall. You set it on the shelf there. You take your gun out, take your ammo out, everything that you're going to need. And then you take your bag and you put it against the back wall. Here at Buckeye Shooting Center, the distance between the wall and the firing line is over 12 feet. We made sure that we had plenty of room for our customers to be comfortable and to maneuver. However, past that yellow line, between that yellow line and that red line, is the only time guns are allowed out of the case.
And that's probably the single biggest infraction we see on the range. And you don't think about it, especially if you're not experienced with shooting in an indoor range before. You sign a waiver that says this is what you're going to do. There's stuff written on the door as you walk in. This is what you're supposed to do. Our safety officers tell you what we expect when you come in there for a safety perspective. And still, from time to time, you run into that. And that's where it gets into what I was saying about, we've kicked 12 people off the range. It wasn't for,
stuff like
pulling
this.
a gun from one to the other. You get a warning on that one. Now, if you're habitual, you'll be asked to leave, because you're just being ignorant at that point. But that's one of those where it's like, hey, dude, don't do that. Keep the guns in front of the yellow line in the stall. Everything else can come back. But that is easily the biggest infraction that we see on the range all the time. That's what gets the RSOs to where they're little tents.
Yeah, and for that matter,
guns walking around.
It's also guns coming in the front door of the store.
Yeah.
We have people just bringing guns without, not holstered, not in cases or anything, and we'll supply them, and that's fine. We're more than happy to, but we don't know if people are here to rob us or come in carrying a gun.
You can't identify intent from 50 feet across the room. So
the next subject I have is going to be I really couldn't put a number on this, but it's daily. Our range is cleaned daily.
What does that mean?
That means that let's talk about the floors. Our floors are vacuumed each bay twice weekly. So twice weekly, each bay is vacuumed. Now we use an explosion-proof or a fire-proof vacuum.
Yeah, you thought what was it? Not Dawson.
Yeah.
What the hell's that expensive vacuum company?
Dyson.
You thought Dyson was expensive?
Yeah.
Buy a bomb-proof vacuum.
Yeah, it's not cheap.
Like $5,000.
Yeah, and then you got to remember you're vacuuming up powder. You're vacuuming up some lead dust particles, and it's hazmat.
Brass too, from time to time, as far as brass getting shaved off cases and stuff.
I mean, but
it's important to note, because this is one of those unseen safety things that happens. Now I'm going to cut in a video here of another range that I don't even know where this range was.
Brazil, I think.
Okay.
There's a police department in Brazil.
And the guys are training. I know it's law enforcement because they're completely kitted up, but
they're all wearing the same uniforms too.
Yeah. Well, what you see is guys get on the firing line, you see bang, 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 and boom. And
it's brutal.
The entire thing, all the spent gunpowder that's on the floor from not cleaning up, just ignites. And you got to keep in mind, one of the things that's nice about having a state-of-the-art range is you're pushing a lot of fresh oxygen. What is one thing that fire and explosives love? Oxygen. So it turned the entire range into a bomb, essentially. I don't know if there are casualties from that or whatever else, but I know
there had to be.
It is.
You can judge for yourself.
See for yourself. It's brutal. So having an explosive-proof vacuum, where we vacuum up the lanes every single day, is important. And this is one of those unknown. We were ignorant on it before we built the range.
It's twice weekly in each bay.
Yeah.
So it's not every day.
We had no idea this existed when we were designing this place, and then the range company was like, "Hey, you also need this," and we're like, "This is stupid." And they showed us this video. We're like, "Where do I sign?"
Let's get two of them.
Yeah.
It's brutal. And then we also we have a task sheet. Every day we're cleaning in the range, whether it's wiping down the flat surfaces where lead particles can roost, even going down and vacuuming
the top of the track,
wiping the tracks down. And we do that for everybody's safety, our customers and our employees. That's all I have by the numbers. But the one thing that you need to know is wherever you shoot, go in, ask them for their numbers because you need to be safe. We know ours, and
I'll use this term loosely, is not all ranges are created equal.
no.
So
You tell about the time we were in Reno and went shooting.
no, oh god.
We stepped into a range, and I mean, you could put it this range.
We were just trying to kill time. We
Yeah.
had an entire day between when we were out there for business. So we were just looking for shit to do because we had already lost a lot of money gambling. So let's go to the range, just rent some guns.
Yeah. So we go to the range, and it was bad. I mean, the cleanliness was, and then we're talking to a guy, one of the employees there. I don't know, maybe the owner. And the guy comes in front of the range and goes, "Hey, your range is on fire." We were literally there 15 minutes.
The scary thing about it was the guy goes, "Hey, whoever, get the fire extinguisher out. Gotta go
Again.
put a fire out." It was like it was commonplace, and you're sitting there going, "What in the hell did
Yeah.
we walk into?"
We did.
And it looked like a nice place when we went in, but
Yeah, it
then
was-
you started
it
digging
was
a little
ran down
deeper, and
so
you're
bad.
like, "Oh my god, it's bad."
Yeah, we didn't stay long after that. Needless to say, we did not fire any guns in that range that day.
No,
So
no, it was not safe. And again, so we also get a couple other questions I wanted to address with this too, and this is by the numbers as far as the safety stuff goes. But with this, it's going to bring up a couple questions, and ones we get a lot. What is the range capable of handling from the caliber perspective? So every handgun round you can think of, you're totally fine. Rifle rounds, the range is actually rated to handle 50 BMG. However, because we broke it up into 2 bays, the noise and concussiveness of 50 BMG is just, it'll blow your eardrums out, even with the nice ear pro on. The concussive force of it's insane. So we limit it to only 338 Lapua and full auto. So for all you with your 338 Lapua full auto machine guns, you're good to go. Anything from there down. What's that mean? 6.5, 308, 300 Win Mag, you're totally fine. Big bore stuff, your 4570, stuff like that, you're great. The bullet trap can handle a bullet impact of 50 BMG, and from a safety aspect, one of the other things that I want to bring up as well is the dividers in the stalls. The dividers in the stalls, literally what separates you from the shooter next to you, that can take a 50 BMG direct bullet. What is a 50 BMG for those of you who don't know? It's a bullet that's, I don't know, what's that? That's like 18 inches, right? I don't know. But it's a 6-inch-ish long bullet that's a half an inch wide. It's like shooting thumbs at people. That round doesn't even have to hit somebody to kill them. It moves so much air as it's going that just getting close to somebody will turn them into mush. I mean, it's not quite the movies, but that will take a direct 50 BMG impact. So when you're in the stall, provided everybody is doing what they're supposed to with keeping guns beyond the firing line, there is no chance of ricochets with the architecture of how the range is designed, plus having a rubber bullet trap. You don't have to worry about ricochets coming back at you. And the sidewalls, you can take a 50 BMG strike on either side, which is huge. That's like having a tank shoot at the side of the walls. Now, it'll ring your bell probably, but will you go home to your family? Absolutely. And I say that specifically because there are ranges out there, some even in Central Ohio, where their dividers are particle board. Yeah. I mean, it is just not safe. So,
yeah, you really, for our customers out there and for anybody that's wants to get into the shooting sports and pursue anything in the shooting sports, if you're just interested, make sure you go to a place that knows their numbers and is safe. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, you really got to know your numbers, and you got to make sure you're safe. That's all I have.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really important topic, but it's also kind of dry.
It is dry, but we need to take care of our staff and our customers, and we wanted to future-proof this place. We wanted to make sure everybody's safe, our staff, our customers, and we did, and I think we succeeded in that.
So to summarize, with the bottom line didn't read kind of situation, Buckeye Shooting Center is 100% state-of-the-art in everything that we have with the range, to include the safety side of it. The industry standard to the industry minimum, we are 3 times better than the industry minimum for a lot of reasons, but at the end of the day, you can always guarantee that you're not going to have to breathe in toxic air. We have a rubber bullet trap that helps eliminate a lot of the toxins that would be expended when you're shooting in an indoor range. You know, it was one
Because
of
of
the
the
benefits.
impact.
Yeah, because of the impact on like a steel trap range. We have safety officers in the range 100% of the time when the range is live. The range can handle damn near anything you can throw at it, especially in Central Ohio, and you're 100% safe in your own stall from any impacts coming to the side. And it's impossible to have a ricochet based on the architecture how the range is designed. One of the last things, and one thing that makes us unique, and I forgot to add this, was we talk about noise rating for EarPro. If you've shot here before, you'll see Bay 1 looks a little different than Bay 2. So Bay 1 is our tactical bay. It's the first one you go into, and it's got black stuff all on the walls, all the way down. And that is sound abatement. And if you look against the back wall where everybody's stuff is when you go in, you'll see black stuff along the wall there too. More sound abatement. So when you go to other ranges and you can hear it from the parking lot, you can hear it too if you park close and somebody's shooting a shorty AR. But if I'm shooting a 9mm handgun in there, I can't hear in the back of the parking lot.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I drive past other ranges, you know, because I travel a lot, and you can hear it from the road, even with road noise, with your windows up.
Yep.
So the sound abatement in here also helps to give the end shooter and you a more pleasurable experience. So bottom line, didn't read, you're 100% safe shooting here. And we are 3 to 5 times better than industry standard, depending on how you look at the numbers of the minimum standard. And that's how we've always operated is, you know, this is the minimum standard. I want to jump over that with leaps and bounds. So, but that's all I have. It's a pretty dry topic, but it's important to know.
Yep. I wish I had a closing phrase here like the guy from Hill Street Blues. Stay safe out there.
Or we can end it with, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
But, yep, that's all we got. So, again, it's Brian, my dad, also called Pops, Grumpy. I mean, a lot of different pseudonyms. And then I'm Zach. So, until next time, we'll see you soon.